Last year, I was asked to do an interview with CCM Magazine, and I go to this studio of some sort. I remember there were two chairs facing each other, two orange chairs.
Yeah. Red.
Oh, were they red? And this young man, Andrew Greer, was the interviewer. And he asked great questions. I was really impressed with the questions because they made me, first of all, they weren't questions I'd ever been asked before or don't remember being asked. And they made me think of things, that I hadn't thought of. And so I called him a month or two later and asked him if he would be interested in doing a podcast called Dinner Conversations. Did I have the name already?
I don't know if I think we thought up the name based on what we thought the idea of why even do a podcast. We love podcasts. Both of us are fans of podcasts, listen to a lot of podcasts, everything from NPR to all kinds of personalities. And so you started saying, why don't we do that? In fact, you tried to pawn it off on me at one point in time. You were like, I don't know if you remember this, but you said, well, really, you should do this because this is your forte or whatever. You're an interviewer and that kind of thing.
Right.
And I said, I got plenty on my plate. If you want to do this with me, let's do it. Because I think you bring in another dynamic.
An older dynamic.
Louder.
See, I thought it was louder, I thought it'd be, now that I'm old, and I'm now the Bill Gaither, and he's the young, well, he's not Mark Lowry. Bless his heart. He's alive, and that's good. But no, so I thought he'd bring a young perspective. I know some artists and personalities and interesting authors that he may not know, and he knows young, interesting people, authors and such that I may not know. So I thought it would be a great time just to get together and talk, ask questions, think, and eat. My two favorite things to do, eat and talk.
Yeah, the whole premise behind Dinner Conversations and why we thought might be interesting, not just for us, but for you too, is that I think culturally we are having trouble having good conversation. We don't know how to listen and we don't know how to dialogue, and we're having trouble respecting each other sometimes because of that. And so the table, yes, that's right, because we're not interacting, right? The table is where so many of our core interactions began as children, whether that's with our families, or even if that was mealtime at school and eating around a table.
And if you're lucky, some of those dinner conversations turn into food fights. I know they did at my house.
Some messy conversation, and we actually hope that maybe some of our conversation is not just cut and dry, but
we won't have any food fights, but it could get messy.
It could get messy. The topics we're talking about, we're thinking about things from, so far in the season 1, we'll be talking about blended families.
Yep.
Talking about race issues in the church.
Right.
Adoption. One of my favorite ones we've done so far, which I didn't know might be my favorite, is Comic Grief, which is with Shonda Pierce and Ken Davis, about two comedians who've had some really significant journeys with depression. Tell them some of our other, guests that we're having.
Well,
Sandy Patty.
Guess.
Guess.
Oh, Sandy Patty, Nicole C. Mullen, Mark Schultz, Anita Renfro.
That's right. Patsy Claremont, Shonda Pierce,
Jan Silvius.
Point of Grace.
Yeah.
So a lot of interesting people.
A lot of people are going to be eating at this table.
Yeah. And we'll be singing too.
Oh yeah, a lot of music.
So we can't. Both of us are musicians first, I think, and all that. But
you might be.
Well,
I'm a talker first. I love talking.
Yeah.
I'd rather talk than sing or eat. Really? No, I take that back. No. So I get to do at this event, Dinner Conversations, we will be doing my favorite things, literally singing and talking and eating, and that's 3 things, isn't it?
We wanted to think about also the spiritual perspective of why even do this. We are spiritual people. Faith, it drives our interactions in the culture around us. And I've always said that communion often begins with good conversation, and good conversation often begins around the table.
That's right.
Yeah, and so that's how Dinner Conversations was born.
And there's one seat left at the table, and it's yours. So be sure and join us for Dinner Conversations with Mark Lowry and Andrew Greer.
Turning the light on one question at a time. Dinner Conversations with
Sandy Patty, Nicole C. Mullen. With what?
I was going to say with Mark Lowry.
Okay.
That's kind of the whole premise of Dinner Conversations with you and me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do it one more time.